welcome to Money Truth Moments with Judy Copenbarger. I am your host, Carlos Garcia, and we have with us the one and only Judy Copenbarger. Welcome.
Good morning, Carlos. How are you this morning?
I am fantastic. I get to do this awesome show with you on Tuesday morning, so it makes my day. It gets me started, and we're ready to rock and roll for sure. How about yourself?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
So we've been we created this series, and now we're really branching off into a little bit of deeper subjects that relate to us here in today's, I guess, world, if you want to call it, put it that way. One of the questions that's come up is that how can folks positively prepare for the new normal? And let's begin with the family aspect.
Wow, we are going to be entering a new normal, aren't we? And for viewers that might be reviewing this in later months or later years, we've been pretty much on lockdown for 10 weeks or so with the COVID-19. So that's what's going on if you're watching this later as a recording. But I think when it comes to family, re-entering a new normal, we raised 5 kids. They're all adults now and doing their thing. A couple of them are married, and it's been fun to go from that relationship where you're the teacher, you're the mentor, and you're teaching them more than you're learning from them, to kind of flipping that. And now we learn more from our kids than we teach them, I feel, and they're just they're doing so well and just impacting the world in wonderful ways. But when I think about family and reflecting back on when they were with us in the home, I think what's going to be different about this new season, this new normal, is education. So I think the first thing is rethinking education. Families had a chance to try on homeschool suddenly this spring. And I think for some people that might become part of their new normal. And maybe it's not just going through life where the kids go to school, they come home, they do their homework until dinner time, they have dinner and they go to bed. It's about all the education, maybe learning new languages, the creative part, dads that are out there teaching their kids how to fix the lawnmower or how to work on the car, doing creative, crafty things. You see all the kids that are coloring on the sidewalk with chalk and being creative. I think education is all of that, music and travel and cultural studies. I think all of that can be history, and studying what's on the news, right? And creating that into our family conversations. I think all of that could be part of education. And as we enter the new normal, I kind of imagine families taking advantage of integrating their lives. So it's not just parents go to work, kids go to school, but bringing all those things together in things that they do as joint activities. I think another thing that might be helpful for families moving forward is to have a real clear vision for their family. Anyone in business, a successful business, they know exactly what the mission of the business is. Here we build cars, here we make coffee, whatever it is. A lot of people don't take time to have a family constitution. What's the goal for our family? And
family constitution, I like that. That's great.
I've done this with clients for years, and we had this when our children were coming up, when they were school age, and we recently, with our all 5 adult children and a couple of in-laws, not outlaws, but in-laws, we got together and we did the Constitution with everybody's input and everybody's impact. And one of my sons led the conversation, and it was over a few days, and it's amazing. But it's just having clarity on what is our family about. When our kids were little, it was about raising and growing confident and competent children so they could go out into the world and do what it is with their gifts that they're supposed to do. And so not only do they have the skill sets and the background, they know music and they know some language and, all those things besides algebra that you learn. And how do they use that now to make a great life for them? So they had the competency, but they also needed the competence. They needed to fail. They needed to try things on and have it be okay, a safe place, to try on. So they would go out with the confidence to just take risk and do what they need to do. And I got to go on the Dr. Phil show once actually and share that. It's confidence.
Oh, really?
Children, yeah. So you've got to have. We all know adults that have all the confidence in the world. They're cocky, but really they forgot to build the skills. We know that guy, right? We know people.
Right.
But there are also people that have a lot of competence, but no confidence to implement. And they have all this great skill and all this great resource and all these wonderful characteristics about them, but they kind of keep it to themselves. So the idea is to have both confidence and competence. But recently, when we updated our family constitution, we all put input, and it's about the goals we have 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years from now for this whole family. So I think that might be one of the things that would be beneficial to consider as families enter this new normal.
That's awesome. And you know what? I'm writing this down because I do want to start my own family constitution. I think it's great. And I'm glad you're sharing that with us too. Yeah. Because that's very powerful. So speaking of family, now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the new normal also in faith, right? How do we deal with that as well?
Yeah, I've got a book that might be helpful for your readers to know about called Money, Truth, and Life. And in that book, chapter 9 discusses specifically this. It talks about, we could put up maybe for the viewers to see a picture of this. I call this the integrity wheel. And the integrity wheel is basically your life. It's got all the spokes, all the aspects of your life, and all these spokes need to work together to have integrity, to be strong enough for the journey. If any of the spokes bend or break, it will impact all the others. That's kind of the premise behind this. So when we're looking at the spoke of faith, the thing about this is faith and finance are the two easiest ones to put integrity in. They're instant. They don't require other people or other processes. So when we're talking about faith, I think there are a couple of things to think about. It's just a choice. You can believe or not believe. You can choose or not choose. And if you think about it, there are really two key dates. Let's call it dates. Two days on the calendar that are the most important days to really have clarity around. And the first most important date in your life is the day that you were born. That's an important one. The second most important date is the day you realized why you were born, right? Why am I the big question? And the sooner in life we get clarity about that, what we're here for, who we're here for, what's our mission, what's our purpose, I think that's when people can get really grounded into their center, their spiritual side, their faith side. So, and it's just a matter of expressing that and making a difference using that, coming from a faith side. So it might be prayer. I find a lot of value in that. It might be meditation, just being in that quiet place and focusing on what's important to you and your center and your spirit. Mm-hmm. It might be just taking a walk barefoot on some grass or being out in nature. Some people say their church, their spiritual place is the golf course. And, if that's it, just finding that, where you feel like time stops and you're just present. That's that faith center. For some people, it's God. For some people, it's whatever their belief is. For me, it happens to be, I'm a Christian, so I've got that faith core, that faith center. But I think focusing on that and choosing something around your spiritual side can bring so much integrity to this wheel that you're looking at here. It makes the journey, rather than cumbersome or impossible, it makes it very possible and very positive. And it just feels effortless when you have faith involved.
Excellent. No, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. The other piece of this, so we covered a little bit of the family aspect of it on the new normal and faith as well. But another important one that I see kind of stands out in the center of the wheel here is the finance piece of it too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that's my world. And it's just navigating finance well that I've spent my whole career figuring out, first of all, how to do, and then how to help other people do it, where it's effortless, it's process driven, it's just checklist. Do this, this, this. Don't do, more importantly, this, this, and this, and then you're going to be where you want to be with pinpoint accuracy. So it's just a matter of planning. Getting back to this new normal, I think there are some very specific things people could do, and this might be a pen and paper moment for your viewers here. But if you want to take a minute, get out your cell phone to take a couple of notes, or pen and paper if you're a paper person. This is probably noteworthy and it's probably worth having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and spending a few minutes in what I'm about to tell you. So there are 3 parts to the finance that are not just what to do, although I'll share some things in the new normal that you could do and maybe should do. But the first thing is just getting the mindset right. I'm gonna grab a couple of notes. So you get to choose with anything in life, but particularly with your finance, if you're going to be positive or negative about how you take in information, what you do with it, and how you implement. So the first thing is, do I feel positive about money, or is it a negative thing? Right? Some people have guilt or shame or I can't do it, lack of confidence around money. But you can decide, you know what, I'm just going to figure it out. I'm going to get some resources. Maybe it's an online mastery program. We have that available, or getting this book or whatever, getting the right resources, the money truth, the right resources, having a positive outlet and getting your mindset where I can do it and I deserve to have a positive light around my money. I deserve to have a good financial future and a sound financial future. So the first thing is looking back on any experience, and it might be just watching this video. What did I learn? Just making a couple of notes of what did I learn. Might be from a conversation, it might be from an educational book you read or something like that. What did I learn? And then if I could go back, how could I do it better? And this is particularly important coming out of this COVID-19, getting back to this new normal. You know, what would I have done to prepare better? Should I have saved more money? Should I have had a second plan of action for my career? You know, something else that I could do to get money? Should I have been more creative and taken advantage of some of the opportunities because of what we were going through as a country? So just make a note of a couple things I could have done better. And then with everything in life, with every experience, this is a tool I'd like for you to have, and it's called the Rose Debrief. And I learned it years and years ago from a Boy Scout troop. We had kids in Cub Scouts, and I learned it from a Boy Scout troop that I was serving at the time. And the Rose Debrief is something simple that you can do every time you finish a meeting, every time you finish maybe watching a movie with your kids, every time you have any kind of an event, maybe a church service or maybe a day at the park, whatever it is, day at the beach. And you come back and you write down 3 things, and everybody involved gets to share. So it can be a very quick exercise. But the first thing is, what's a rose about what just happened? Let's say you went to the beach. We went to the beach, we took our little kids and played in the ocean. Everybody gets to say one thing that was their rose. Oh, it was just great being together. It was great. Nobody got a sunburn. It was great having hot dogs and no sand got in them. You know, whatever it is, everybody's going to have what was great about the day, about the experience. The second thing is the thorn. Well, what's one thing that we wish hadn't gone that way? What's one thing that we'd like to do a redo on? Something that didn't go well. So maybe some people walked by and their music was too loud and we couldn't hear our conversation over the music. For someone else, it might be, you know, there weren't any pickles for the hot dogs, whatever.
Right.
So everybody has something that didn't work so well, one thing. And then you have a bud. So you got the rose, the thorn, and finally the bud. The bud is something that you would do new, that's better, different, more of it. Maybe we'll bring more sandwiches next time. Maybe we'll have ice for the sodas. Maybe we'll park in a shady spot. You know, everybody's going to have something that, wow, if we would have done that, it would have been just that 1% better. So now you have an action list of things that you can do to improve next time you go to the beach. Don't forget the extra towel. Don't forget the jug of water in the truck to wash off our feet when we get in the car to get the sand off our feet. Whatever it is, the 1%. And the idea is if you do 1% better every day, you're going to, like 8 times every year, your effectiveness. Isn't that crazy? Just little tiny fine tunings. And you just make.
But that's great. That's awesome, because I've never heard of this, but it makes total sense. And I like how you broke this down, because you can apply it to just about any situation in your life.
Yeah.
You know, family, friends, work, whatever it is on there as well too.
Anything. And at our office, we do roses all day long. Every client meeting, every vendor meeting, every staff meeting, anything that happens. Sometimes there's just a surprise that happens where somebody might just come by the office or something, and we debrief everything. And that's how we learn and how we get better. You have to hold up the mirror, right? And just see, what are we doing? And it's just about being intentional. I do want, before we get into today's challenge, I do want to give a couple just financial specifics for people that have been in a job, they've been employed, and when they go back to work, what's something they can do in their new normal? Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Absolutely.
I think a lot of people, when they have a job, forget to take advantage of all of the benefits. So if you have an employer that has a nice package of benefits, well, even if they don't have a nice package, it's probably something. Find out from, if you're in a big company, it'll be the HR, human resource department. If it's a small company, it might be through whoever does payroll, the bookkeeper, or maybe there's a vice president that does payroll and takes care of benefits and things like that. Sometimes it's even a third party outside. But if you haven't been taking care of or taking advantage of those benefits, I want you to really consider looking at any retirement programs they might have. Maybe there's a deferred comp program where you don't pay tax on the money now, but later when you retire or sever employment, you can get those benefits back in a tax-free benefit way. If there's a 401k or any kind of a SEP IRA or a simple IRA in small companies, where you can put money in again, not pay tax now, but let it grow tax deferred until it's time later. And it's a way to put savings away without ever missing it. It's just, it comes out of your paycheck, and it's another one of those initials, with all the minuses where the minus is gone. But it's amazing with the tax advantages that you get on those, how little you have to put in to get a lot out at the other end. So if you haven't done that, or if there's a new position change, you're going to a new job, look for the benefits for retirement programs. Many companies also have in their retirement or in their benefit package insurances that are available. Sometimes they offer health insurance or a discounted group health insurance for you. You can get life insurance, and often you can extend it to your spouse. So for little or no money, very, very minimal, you can get life insurance on you and your spouse just in case. And sometimes there's even long-term care insurance benefits that are involved in there. So just take the time to explore whatever those are. They used to hand everybody a handbook, like a big, phone book of all these benefits.
Right.
Now it's all online. So it will take a little navigation. Our company can help, but you can find any financial planner, a CFP, or an AIF can help you navigate that. If you go to a traditional investment advisor or a broker-dealer representative, they're always going to have a better deal and sell you something. So just consider the source when you're getting that advice. But if you go to a planner, all planners are schooled in this, how to navigate the benefits, which ones will do the right things for you and which ones might be not good for you. The most overlooked package that people miss all the time is the health savings account. It's called an HSA, health savings account. And if your company has one, do it. If they don't have it, ask them to do it. It doesn't cost them anything to do it. But this is a program where you can put up to $7,000 a year if you're married into this health savings account, and it goes in tax-free, and then you pull it out for anything to do with your health, wellness, or fitness. So you can use it in some cases for gym memberships. You can use it for your vitamins, your Band-Aids, your prescriptions, your co-payments. If you go to the hospital, or you have a deductible, you can pay out of that account all those things. It's usually your credit card, just used for health things. But you can put money in there, not pay tax on it, and then it's tax-free that your money that you're spending on all of these things you're already spending money on. So overlooked and underused, I don't know why, but now everybody knows, this watching this, make sure you aren't taking advantage of an HSA that you do, and it has to be through an employer. If you have your own business, you can set one up. And if your employer doesn't have one, encourage them to do that. So those are some things that we'll get back to the new normal that I think will be really helpful for people that have employment or maybe own a small business to consider.
Awesome, folks. And if you're not following Judy just yet, I actually have her website there, Judy Copenbarger. Make sure that you follow, visit her website. There's a lot of great things for you to watch there and get a lot of great information. Also, she's got an upcoming book to be released real soon. Follow her on social media as well and share this out. Judy, the topics that you were just talking about also just reminded me that these are some very important things that I know a lot of business owners, big or small, also employees, are not aware of. And it may be something that we can touch at a later time during these Money Truth moments as well too, because it's very valuable information. You know, if for me, for example, I didn't know about this DHSA or any of that as well too. So it's great to learn some of these great tips from you.
Wonderful. Well, I have a challenge now that we did that. But you know what? We had a challenge a couple of weeks ago, and I'd love to hear from you, Carlos. What happened out of that challenge? I know you've got a story to share with us.
Absolutely, and thanks for bringing that up. So to remind folks, we were supposed to, actually, I'll let you remind folks of our challenge. How's that? About calling 3 people during the day, right? I mean, 3 people a day, and trying to help making a difference for folks. In a nutshell, that's what the challenge was. So, yeah, so what I did is I shared that with my son. My son's about to turn 14. So he's not because he's my son, but he's a great kid. So what I noticed when I told him that, he gets online playing with his friends. They text, they do all kinds of stuff. I noticed that he started helping out his friends that were having bad days or they were getting upset over things. And I got to hear and also see firsthand just like his level of maturity in helping others. So it was more than 3 a day, you know what I mean? And obviously, they're teenagers, so there's going to be drama no matter what, but it's how they usually handle it. And looking at him, looking at his responses, hearing him talking, I just sat back and it was just, I was speechless. Like, wow, man, this boy is now becoming a young man and just, thinking really deep on how to help other folks, One of the biggest things since he was really little, I've always told him to make a difference, be a blessing to someone else. So I've always told him that, if he sees a child or he sees a kid that's eating lunch by himself, go sit down with him, invite him over to your group. At one point or another, you were that kid that didn't know anybody. And fortunately, he's got a great personality, so he can make friends real easy. But I know that he comes across sometimes other kids that aren't as fortunate to make friends, So that's been our biggest thing. And every day that we go out, every day, whether it's, pets, helping pets, whatever we can do, anything that requires assistance, that we can be of help, that's what I'm trying to instill in him, because that's what I'm all about, And in another time, in another story, I'll share more of this, where this came from for me growing up. But that's what we've been doing with our challenge, and we still continue to doing it. So
I love that. Thanks for sharing. That's so great. And that was our challenge from a couple of weeks ago. So
correct.
this week we had a financial challenge. And the challenge was to take a look. If you don't have a spending plan, not a budget, but a spending plan, take a look at all of your expenses. There's fixed expenses that don't change much every month. And then there's flexible expenses. And the challenge was to write down all of your flexible expenses and really look at what you actually spent. And we did get a lot of feedback, and it was funny. Almost all the feedback, guess what category it was? Food. Everybody wanted to talk about food. It was like, because the challenge was, what's the biggest surprise when you're actually looking at your numbers? And it was food. And I got to say, a couple of comments, I made a list here. I thought it was kind of funny. Yeah, everybody's like, I can't believe what we spend on food. Eating out, supplements, juicing, DoorDash, all the delivery services, and groceries. Everybody's like eating because they're home, But I had a couple of ideas that came out of our viewers. One of them was, what they decided to do is their 1% improvement with the information they got from this exercise was to cut 10% off what they'd been doing, which was a pretty good amount of this couple family. Another one similar, they said instead of 1%, they were just going to cut it down to $200 a week. And this family had never thought about how much they spend on food ever. It's just like, if you have money, you buy it. If you don't, you don't. They've never really thought about, what are we spending and should we plan for that? And so they actually made a budget, a spending plan for their groceries and their food, including eating out, $200 a week. This guy said, I'll just fast. That's my 1% improvement. I'll save money. I'll just fast. But you know what? Why not? You know, people that believe that's a benefit to your body, I happen to do that. You can fast for a day or 2 or 3 or a week or 2 or 3, whatever, and think of all the money you would save on grocery that now you can either put into your spending plan or give it away. And what if you just fasted half a day or a day a week and gave that money away that you would have spent on consumption? Probably better for your body, and then you're making a difference out there. But I thought that was kind of feedback. And then another one said their big 1% idea was to keep tracking it. They'd never written all this down or thought about it before, but now to just continue to do that and track what they're actually spending. Because when you look at it, you can deal with it and probably spend less. So
yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
About being intentional. So that was feedback from last week, but I have a challenge for this week. This week's challenge. Okay, you ready?
Let's do this.
We're going to take what we've learned about the Rose debrief and find one activity or meeting or event that you actually apply the Rose debrief to. So you're going to pen and paper or on your phone, however you take notes, maybe a whiteboard. If there's several people involved, you can do this on a whiteboard, maybe in an office or in your staff meeting if you have a small business, or your family meeting. And you write down whatever the event was, and then you write a rose. Everybody, you're going to have a lot of words. If there's 6 people in the meeting, you're going to have 6 words there. Or you might have one word that has 2 or 3 people said the same word. But what was the best thing about that? The thorn, what's something that we'd like to do over? Wish that didn't happen. So a thorn is what didn't work. And we're going to use that as a list to improve next time. And then you're going to have a bud. And the bud is what would we do more, better, different to have made this better. And now it's going to be added to the action items to improve for next time. So if everybody takes one activity or one event this week and makes a rose, I want to hear the results next week. How about that for a challenge?
That's awesome. And we're going to post this challenge also on Judy's page as well. Make sure that you follow her on social media, on Facebook. If you're on LinkedIn, follow her on LinkedIn as well too. Facebook, it is Money Truth Life. So make sure you write that down. I'll put it also on the chats as well too. So it's always fun talking to you. I know we always run out, as we get to the end. This week's challenge, I am looking forward to it because I already have an idea of what's going to come up this week. So I can't wait to go through it. And we can talk about it next week for sure. So folks, this has been Money Truth Moments. I am your host, Carlos Garcia. This is our speaker, Judy Copenbarger of Money Truth Moments. Please make sure that you follow her. Also stay tuned every Tuesday at 8 a.m. This is when we're going to be conducting our show. If you have questions during the week that you would like us to address, please send them, put them in the comments, or send us a message as well too. Judy, as always, thank you for your time. This has always been a great moment about Money Truth with you.
Oh, my pleasure. And I want to remind your viewers, next week is the Liftoff Summit. And I'll put up on social media how they can actually register for the Liftoff Summit with Uwe Dockhorn. And I'll be speaking on there. We're going to share a lot of great information. I would love to have people show up there and just get their lives to the next level. That's next week.
All right, can't wait for that. So thanks again. You guys have a great morning and make it a really awesome week.